Hey guys, I was asked if I would address the question of how do we handle being away from home or being on vacation? For instance, if you're at a multi-day vacation or conference or something like that, how do you handle um, eating under those circumstances? And so I thought I would address that for everybody's benefit. And the bottom line is the short answer is the same as you do at home. You follow your hunger and fullness cues. Um, I mean, our bodies, they don't really care where we are. They're gonna get empty, and then we're gonna fill them. And kind of this idea of things have to be different as far as our eating goes comes from kind of some cultural or habitual norms, as well as a little bit of diet mentality, in that I can be strict when I'm at home, but when I'm away from home, this is an opportunity to let loose. How do I keep myself from letting loose when I'm outside of my normal element? That's kind of shades of a diet mentality. Um, but some of the more common situations that you'll see with this is events that are centered around food. For example, Thanksgiving, or a family reunion, and we all go out to dinner, or having this big potluck, or a church potluck type thing. Anyway, so just events, special events that are centered around food. I really love when we can have events that are not centered around food. But food is such an important part of our lives and our culture, that the bottom line is there's a lot of things that we do that center around food. So we got to be able to kind of know how to navigate that a little bit. And another one is scheduled meal times. And that can be true whether it's on your job, like you have your lunch hour at work, but also at a convention or something like a conference or something away from home, where you have these scheduled classes that you're attending, and this is the break for lunch or dinner or whatever. And so when those meal times are determined for you, how do you navigate that? And then the other one is when you're traveling with a big group, with your family or extended family or whatever, and not everybody's appetite is going to hit at the same time, and it would be a little chaotic if we're like, you eat when you're hungry and I'll eat when I'm hungry, and I mean, we would just be, somebody's going to be looking for food like all the time, and we would get nothing else done. So when you're with a group, and you don't have coordinated hungers, then we want to kind of figure out how we can navigate that. So I'm going to kind of hit some little highlights on each of those and try to keep this not too long. So when you know you're headed to a food centered event, whatever that is, plan to go hungry. If you have to just eat little bits in the period of the day leading up to that, or say, don't get hungry now, it's an hour before and I don't really want to wait a whole hour. Maybe eat just a few bites of something to just kind of stave off the growlies, and allow you to still be hungry when you go to that event. So kind of that strategizing a little bit, especially if you've been doing this for a little while and you maybe not have necessarily a regular rhythm, because that doesn't exist. I don't think anybody always gets hungry at the very same time all the time. But you can kind of manipulate the hunger just a little bit to help make sure that you're going to be hungry when that event comes. Now, when you're actually there, you want to avoid the temptation to overeat. Okay, still eat dissatisfied. And when there's like a variety of foods, like a Thanksgiving, or a conference spread, or a potluck, or all you can eat buffet or something like that, a practical tip for that is take just 2 or 3 bites of the variety of foods that you want to eat, and choose the ones that you're going to love, or that you really want to try, and just take 3, maybe 4 bites. I mean, if you think about it, our stomachs aren't very big. You're probably not going to have room in your stomach for a gigantic plate of food. So if you take 2 or 3 bites, then you can have enough to sample, but be able to eat a variety of foods without getting overfilled. So think small, very small portions, like bites, not servings. For scheduled meal times, again, if you know what that schedule is going to be, then you can, plan and strategize to be hungry at those opportunities. Now, if you are a person who typically is really only hungry twice a day, but you've got these 3 mealtime opportunities, you can, you can skip one. Nobody's going to care. You can, work with what you know, and what you've experienced with your own body, and then you could also just eat a little bit at those, if it's, there's some importance attached to, the eating opportunity. I know sometimes a lot of, good marketing and stuff like that happens in those meal times, and you don't want to necessarily avoid that. But also, you could totally sit at the table while they're eating and not eat. It's really okay, unless it's not. If it's going to cause hurt feelings, say if it's a homemade meal or something like that, we don't want to cause offense or make a big issue out of it. And so in that case, just eat small, just don't overdo it, and then just wait for the next hunger. As far as traveling, like with a big group, again, you're not obligated to eat at every eating opportunity. You can just say no, thank you, or I'm not hungry right now, and that's really enough. I really don't think people are going to be as bothered by it as we in our minds think that they will be. At least that's been my experience, because I have a tendency to worry what other people are going to think, and then make decisions based on that rather than just, be true to me. And most of the time, people are really kind of okay with that. But again, you want to be considerate and polite. You don't want to be like legalistic or, preachy or anything like that with this kind of behavior. So we don't want to cause offense or create an issue out of it where there doesn't need to be one. So anyway, hopefully these tips will help. Again, the bottom line is you just eat the same way when you're out as you do when you're home. Your body will let you know, and you'll be able to navigate the situation.